Hey garden fam, welcome back to The Sprout. Today we're talking about one of the most diverse and rewarding plants you can grow, Salvia. You might know it as sage, ornamental sage, or simply that plant with the tall spikes of purple, blue, red, or pink flowers that bees and butterflies can't resist. And for good reason. Salvias are the backbone of the summer garden. They bloom for months, they're drought-tolerant, they attract pollinators, and they come in almost every color imaginable. But here's the thing, Salvia is a huge genus, over 1,000 different species. That means there's a salvia for almost every situation, but not all salvias are the same. Some are hardy perennials that come back year after year, others are tender and need winter protection. Some are grown for their edible leaves, like culinary sage. Others are grown purely for their spectacular flowers. In this video, I'll teach you everything you need to know. The different types of salvias, how to plant them, water them, fertilize them, prune them, and keep them blooming all summer long. Before we dive in, if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. We put out new gardening videos every week, and I don't want you to miss the next one. Also, drop a comment below. Do you grow salvias? What's your favorite variety? I'd love to hear about it. Now, let's get into it. First, let's talk about why salvias are so special. Salvias belong to the mint family, Lamiaceae, which also includes rosemary and basil. They're easy to grow, generally pest-free, and provide a long season of color. The name salvia comes from the Latin salveo, meaning I heal or I save, referring to the medicinal and culinary uses of common sage, Salvia officinalis. Their nectar-rich flowers are a magnet for pollinators. Bees, butterflies, and hummingbirds love them, and because they flower for months on end, they provide a consistent food source when other plants have finished blooming. Now let's talk about the different types of salvias. This is important because their care varies. The three main categories for gardeners are hardy perennial salvias, tender perennial salvias, and annual salvias. Hardy perennial salvias are the easiest. They survive winter in most climates and come back year after year. Popular varieties include Salvia nemorosa Caradonna with its violet-purple flower spikes on dark stems. Salvia x sylvestris Maynite or Maynite is a classic with deep blue-purple flowers. Salvia verticillata Purple Rain has whorls of purple flowers on tall stems. And Salvia pratensis, the meadow sage, is another hardy option. Tender perennial salvias are less cold-hardy. They may survive mild winters with protection, but often need to be brought indoors or mulched heavily in colder climates. Popular varieties include Salvia greggi, the autumn sage, which blooms from spring to frost in a rainbow of colors. Salvia x gemensis, Hot Lips, has striking bicolored red and white flowers and a sweet blackcurrant fragrance from its foliage. Salvia microphylla Cerro Potosi has aromatic leaves and neon pink flowers. And Salvia elegans, pineapple sage, has pineapple-scented leaves and red flowers. Now, let's start with light. Almost all salvias need full sun. They need at least 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight every day. In too much shade, they'll get leggy, produce fewer flowers, and may develop fungal issues. In very hot climates, a little afternoon shade can help, especially for tender varieties. But the more sun, the more flowers. Now let's talk about soil. This is critical. Salvias need well-draining soil. They hate wet feet. Poorly draining soil, especially heavy clay, can lead to root rot and death over winter. If you have heavy clay, amend it with grit, sand, or organic matter to improve drainage. Some salvias, like Salvia uliginosa, bog sage, are an exception and tolerate moisture conditions. But for most, good drainage is non-negotiable. Salvias also prefer soil that's not too rich in nutrients, especially nitrogen. Too Too much nitrogen produces lots of leaves and fewer flowers. Now let's talk about planting. The best time to plant hardy salvias is in spring or early autumn. Tender salvias should be planted in late spring or early summer after the risk of frost has passed. Dig a hole twice as wide as the root ball. Plant at the same depth it was growing in its pot. Backfill with soil, water thoroughly, and mulch. Space plants according to their mature size. Compact varieties need about 30 to 45 centimeters between plants. Taller varieties may need more. Now let's talk about watering. Salvias are drought-tolerant once established. Overwatering is a bigger problem than underwatering. During the first year, water regularly to help the roots establish. After that, water deeply during extended dry spells. In containers, water more regularly as they dry out faster. Always water at the base of the plant to keep the leaves dry and reduce the risk of fungal disease. Now let's talk about fertilizing. Salvias are not heavy feeders. In fact, too much fertilizer, especially too much nitrogen, causes soft, floppy growth and fewer flowers. For plants in the ground, you usually don't need to fertilize at all. For salvias in containers, feed them once a month during the growing season with a high potash liquid fertilizer, like tomato feed. This promotes flowering without encouraging excessive leafy growth. Now let's talk about pruning and deadheading. This is the secret to keeping salvias blooming for months. Deadheading means removing spent flowers. Cut the flower spike back to a leaf node when the flowers start to fade. This encourages the plant to produce more flowers instead of going to seed. For herbaceous perennial salvias, you can shear the whole plant back by about a third after the first flush of flowers. This often produces a second flush of blooms later in the summer. For woody, shrubby salvias, deadhead back to a lower pair of leaves. Don't cut back salvias in autumn. Leave the dead stems and foliage over winter to protect the roots from cold. In late spring, when new growth appears, cut back the old growth. Now let's talk about common problems. Let's go through them one by one. Problem 1. Poor flowering or short flowering period. Not enough sun. Move your plant to a sunnier spot. Also, failing to deadhead will stop the plant from producing more blooms. Problem 2. Root rot. The plant wilts, leaves turn yellow, and growth is stunted, caused by overwatering or poorly draining soil. Improve drainage, water less. In severe cases, replant in fresh, well-draining soil. Salvias in wet soil over winter are especially vulnerable. Problem 3. Frost or winter damage. Tender salvias can be damaged or killed by cold. In mild areas, mulch with a thick layer of compost or well-rotted manure to protect the roots. In colder areas, lift tender varieties and overwinter them in pots indoors or in a frost-free greenhouse. Don't cut back salvias in autumn. The foliage provides some protection. Problem 4. Leggy growth. Not enough sun or too much fertilizer. Move to a sunnier spot. Stop fertilizing. Problem 5. Pests. Salvias are generally pest-free. The aromatic oils tend to put off pests like slugs, snails, rabbits, and deer. Occasionally, you may see aphids, but they're usually not a serious problem. Here's where you come in. Drop a comment below. Do you grow salvias? Which variety is your favorite? I'd love to know. Now let's talk about the different types in more detail. Hardy perennial salvias are the easiest for beginners. They're reliable, long-lived, and require minimal care. They're perfect for borders, beds, and mass plantings. Tender perennial salvias need more attention in winter, but they offer a wider range of colors and longer flowering periods. They're great for containers because you can move them to a protected spot in winter. Annual salvias are perfect for adding a splash of color to pots and borders for a single season. Now let's talk about propagating salvias. This is a great way to get more plants for free. The easiest method is to take cuttings in late summer. Cut a non-flowering stem about 8 centimeters long, remove the lower leaves, dip the cut end in rooting hormone if you have it, plant it in a pot with gritty compost, cover with a plastic bag to create humidity. Keep it in a cool greenhouse or a bright windowsill. In a few weeks, roots will form. You can also propagate by division for some perennial types. Divide the clump in spring or autumn, separating it into sections, each with roots and shoots. Now let's talk about popular varieties. Salvia Hot Lips is one of the most popular. It has bicolored red and white flowers that look like little lips. It's semi-evergreen and flowers from July to October. Salvia Caradonna is a hardy perennial with deep violet flower spikes on purple-black stems. It's compact and very reliable. Salvia Amistad has rich purple flowers with a long flowering season, often from June to November. It's a half-hardy perennial. Salvia Love and Wishes has rich pink-purple flowers on dark stems and blooms for months on end. And for a culinary option, Salvia officinalis, common sage, is an evergreen shrub with aromatic leaves used in cooking. Let me give you a few quick answers to common questions. Are salvias perennials? It depends. Some are hardy perennials, others are tender perennials, and some are annuals. When should I cut back salvias? In late spring, after new growth appears. Don't cut them back in autumn. How tall do salvias get? From about 30 centimeters to over 1.5 meters, depending on the variety. Do salvias need full sun? Yes, at least 6 to 8 hours daily. What's the difference between sage and salvia? Sage is the common name for many salvias, especially the culinary ones. All sage is salvia, but not all salvias are sage. Let's wrap everything up. Salvias are some of the most rewarding plants you can grow. They offer long-lasting color, are drought-tolerant, and attract pollinators. Give them full sun, plant them in well-draining soil, water during the first year, then only during dry spells. Deadhead to keep them blooming, don't over-fertilize, and protect tender varieties in winter. Here's the most important thing to remember. Salvias are tough, adaptable, and generous. They give you months of flowers and attract beneficial insects. They're perfect for borders, containers, and mass plantings. Once you have one, you'll want them all. Their diversity means there's a salvia for every garden, and their ease of care makes them a staple for beginners and experienced gardeners alike. Before you go, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and leave me a comment. Are you growing salvias this year? What variety? I'd love to know. Also, what plant should I cover next? Lavender? Catmint? Russian sage? Let me know. Thanks for watching. Take care of your garden, and it will take care of you. See you in the next video.